25 featured one of the strongest Atlantic hurricanes ever in Hurricane Melissa. The Category 5 storm brought extreme winds and flooding to Jamaica, the island still very much on their road to recovery months later. And Fox Weather correspondent Robert Ray is live for us in Jamaica this morning. Robert, what is it like to be back on the island and visiting some of these places you spent so much time in?
Yeah, Jane, good morning to you and everyone. And yeah, greetings from Montego Bay, Jamaica. This is essentially the city center and things just getting going on this Sunday morning. Look, it's really good to be back because we're seeing a lot of progress here in the country. We have seen about 1 million people, according to tourism, come in from around the world into Jamaica already this year. And we know, tourism runs the economy here. But the rebuilding process, yes, it's actually been very efficient. And all day today, we're going to start in Montego and make our way to the southwest coast, where Black River and New Hope and Westmoreland is where the actual landfall occurred. But in the meantime, I want you to watch something. It's really quite interesting, the power of the people of Jamaica and the spirit and the resilience. The island nation of Jamaica, turquoise water, beautiful mountains, and the bustling streets of Montego Bay.
YouTube, welcome.
7 months
TikTok,
after
welcome.
Hurricane Melissa tore across Jamaica as a Category 5 storm, the island's recovery is becoming visible not just in rebuilt homes, but in reopened hotels, returning tourists, and businesses fighting their way back.
Helter skelter, brother. This was the first view coming off of the hill. A lot of that old stuff, your memories, bro, is just gone like that. And then you're forced to just like, get over it. But come on, you gotta go, you know what I mean? So that's it, you don't have no recovery time.
Survivors are working hard, repairing buildings, restaurants, hotels, and business.
I think sometimes what it is down here is that there's no other way for you to go, so you have to dig within yourself and come up with the goods. You literally don't have no choice. It's like, they say when your back is against the wall, man. You know what I mean? You got to get creative, you know what I mean? And they have a saying in Jamaica where they say you have to make your Anton fashion, you know? So you have to use whatever you have and just make it happen.
But this recovery story goes beyond luxury resorts. In communities hit hard by Melissa, small business owners are rebuilding piece by piece, reopening beach shops, restaurants, markets, fishing charters, and roadside restaurants that depend on tourism dollars to survive.
For a couple of months, it was very slow, but it's good now. It's getting better. The government is trying to do its best. We as person too, we have to try to do our best too, to ensure everyone is okay.
Don't worry about a thing. Can I get somebody to sing? Let me hear, come on.
Tourism is Jamaica's economic engine, supporting nearly 1 in 5 jobs and driving industries from farming to transportation.
The enabled response from our multilateral partners is absolutely phenomenal. $6.9 billion.
If you are not yet following me on YouTube,
to recover
join the
and to
YouTube
build
family.
back, but not to build back, as it is said, but to build forward and to build better. And so the government has taken that very seriously.
Damage estimates topped $12 billion, more than half of Jamaica's gross domestic product.
Our resilience is what really came through. We were able to start rebuilding. The government stepped in really, really quick. There was a lot of aid that was coming to the island. And in short order, you started to see lights come back on. Our power company hit the ground running. They got people to come in, and we actually opened for a tourism season, which was remarkable.
People have learned again to love each other, to care for each other, to respond to each other. The impact since Melissa has been a strengthening not just of relationships in communities, but it's reflected itself in strengthening of peace.
And despite the scars left behind by Melissa, Jamaica's tourism industry is sending a clear message to the world. The island is reopening, the beaches are filling back up, and for thousands of Jamaicans, recovery means getting back to work.
We're coming off of a tragedy, but to be honest,
Yes,
it was almost
Mr.
like a
Ricketts.
cleansing in some weird way.
Hold it, you know, we are together. Hold the faith, hold the faith. Yeah, man, hold the faith, hold the faith.
I try to pass on some of what the
Come
world
together, man.
I see in Jamaica, you know, not where they come with them, I see what the world I see.
And, you know, here's the thing about tourism and hotels. There are many hotels, the big ones, the resorts that are not quite open yet. They are basically repairing some of the damage and upgrading from some of the funds. A lot of them will be open again in the fall, but in the interim, you'll have no really problem getting a hotel here in Montego Bay. It just may not be the exact one that you want. All of this about to really go into full force this fall and winter again. Look, it takes time to rebuild, and you hear behind me a lot of the trucks moving through the city center. We're going to make our way down to Black River to the southwest coast where the landfall occurred. In fact, one of the strongest landfalls in the history of
what
the
ship should I
Atlantic
enlighten you
hurricane
about,
season.
madam?
We'll be reporting every single hour from a different location, and we hope that gives you a perspective as to the swath of the damage here in Jamaica. Back to you.
Robert, as always, incredible reporting. I was going to ask you, I mean, you've been able to head into the
I would like to
really
know
more
what ship you would
tourism
like to be enlightened
hotspots for Jamaica, Montego Bay, but we know that St. Elizabeth Parish, or St. Elizabeth, excuse me, I mean, the breadbasket of Jamaica, you know, Black River, where we had that landfall, took such a devastating hit. So I'd be interested to see what your reports look like coming up in the next few hours. And of course, as we kick off our Hurricane HQ
there are better ways
tomorrow.
to get
So Robert, we'll be
information
checking
rather
back in
than
with
come
you
on
again.
TikTok and type it
Thanks
in our
for
chat.
giving us that update here at the top of the hour.
If you've been
More credible information is out there. Far more credible. So, but people, someone on TikTok was asking me about a particular ship. Right now, I have seen the attempts to start a conversation about the so-called, not so-called, the ship. Yes, there's a US ship making a stop in Jamaica. It is nothing new. It's not the first, and it won't be the last. It's gonna happen from time to time. The book ship was there a couple. There's nothing new. But I played that video for you, and while I'm playing that video, that a report that Fox News did just Sunday to mark the beginning of the hurricane season. And the reporter from Fox News that have nothing invested in Jamaica but the visit is Jamaica is rebuilding fast and we are rebuilding strong. I am realizing, well, not realizing, as I'm sure more than everybody knows now, picking up the trend that there is only a certain section of people that is crying doom and gloom and death and destruction to Jamaica. The wider world is seeing something totally different. People who understand is seeing something totally different. But you have a section of people who have a different agenda, will always sit here and tell you, say, everything is bad. This is bad, that is bad. But Jamaica is rebuilding. Jamaica is recovering. And any honest assessment will tell you that that is indeed facts. Now, the conversation, for some reason, anytime you talk about people rebuilding, the question is always, but what happened to the people in Westmoreland? I can attest and I can swear that every single opportunity, in fact, more, not every, more opportunities, more resources are made available to the Westmoreland members of parliament than to any other members of parliament in the affected areas. Westmoreland is getting more container homes than anywhere. The only problem with Westmoreland is that they are members of parliament that is supposed to be doing the groundwork to make it easier for the people to receive the container homes, have not been doing what they were supposed to be doing. Right? Members of parliament who were supposed to be part of the solution, were supposed to be part of the solution, ended up being part of the problem rather than the solution. Members of parliament who come every day and cry how them care about people and they want people to get better. Members of parliament who cry say, oh, we are not being included, are the ones who create an additional problem next. Yes, are the one creating the additional problem. The container houses could have been in place months ago. The government did their part. They purchased, they imported, they cleared, and they're waiting. When we have, and I was having a conversation today with somebody, and I am trying to tell them, say, the only difference between St. James and Westmoreland is the mindset of the people. That's the only difference, the mindset of the people. And yes, I may come across as biased when I say these things, but they are facts. They are grounded in facts. Young Richard Vernon, the mayor of St. James, was on the ground immediately following Melissa, spending municipality money, spending parish council money in an attempt to start the cleanup process, start clearing the path. Even before the government stepped in, Richard Vernon was out there. And I've asked this question many times. Why we never see the Westmoreland Parish Council step up in the same way? I try clear out them city and I try organize themselves. Up until this day, the Westmoreland Parish Council have not raised up a one single dollar to spend. Even when they are given money by central government to spend, them still fall short. And the question is, who is, if there is any, because people love to talk about there is any, who is the one attempting to sabotage the people of Westmoreland? It's not the GOJ. I know the GOJ, the government has done its part. The government of Jamaica has done its part in working tirelessly. Hold on, let me find Let me find Desmond Mackenzie speaking on the situation down in Westmoreland when it comes to the mayor, when it comes to the municipality. When it comes to the municipalities, because guess what? Where is it? Desmond, there's some about the place I know. Because yes, there is somebody that is responsible for the delay in the processes of delivering firstly the container homes, of rebuilding. There's somebody responsible for the delay. But if you follow the conversation without facts, you may end up with the wrong idea. Where's Desmond? We'll put Desmond file somewhere around here, you know. If you follow the conversation without the facts to back it up, you might end up with the wrong impression. If you follow the noise of the market, if you follow the loudest person in the room, if you follow the loudest person in the room, you're going to end up with the wrong impression. Right? Because Desmond Mackenzie has been hard at work trying to lead the coordination between central and local government, especially in Westmoreland, to get people to a point where they can actually help themselves, get them a look that. But there has been a constant resistance from the very municipality where the people in Westmoreland elected to assist them, to make them life easier. That municipality is making the people of Westmoreland life a living hell. And we have another local government coming up. And it will be interesting to see if the people in Westmoreland will do the same again. It will be interesting to see. Missing members of parliament only turn up when there's a camera. Only turn up when there's a camera. If there's not a camera, you won't find them. Them turn up whenever there's a camera. Well, if they will make themselves available, John Bisco, I would ask. But then I go, hello, look at me if you question them, man. Then I go, hello, look at me if you question them. Right? But who, if we follow the evidence, where is the delay coming from? Many people will have you believe, say, oh, the government. No, the government will do its part. The government step up to the plate. The government do what it need to do. But I can't find Desmond recording. I know I have it somewhere about the place here. I'm going to find a short one. I'm only finding the
Don't listen to the mischief makers. They will want to tell you otherwise. They will want to tell you that a thief will thief the money. No, we can't thief the money.
This is not the one I'm looking for. I need the longer one.
The money that them claim we thief.
This is not the one I'm looking for, folks. I want the one when he's giving a breakdown of the interaction between himself and the municipality. That's what I'm searching for. But for some reason, I'm only coming up with this one. But don't worry, I will find it. But the question, yeah, if we're asking the question, who is it? Who is it that we believe? Who is it that we believe is making life difficult for the people that we are supposed to serve? Then there's only one answer we can come up with. Only one answer we can come up with. And that is the very municipalities that was elected to serve them have now become a hindrance to them development. But as I said, there is a local government election coming up. Are these people going to do the same thing again? If you ask me, the answer is yes. If you ask me, the answer is yes. If given the chance, I'm going to vote the same way. Right? But international Fox News came to Jamaica to commemorate the start of the hurricane season. So they did a news report on what is happening. And they could tell, no, this is not the same place where we left 6 months ago. They traveled across the parishes. And them say, no, yes, while there are certain places that have not yet been returned to norm, it is places are coming back. Places are coming back. Businesses are opening. The smaller business in St. James are starting to reopen. Some of them fully open. The big hotels are refurbishing, but the smaller ones are opening. Why we not seeing the same effort in Westmoreland? Because the people of Westmoreland are being used in a dangerous political game. And unless them stand up to the people, them what them elect and demand better. Stand up to the people them and demand better. Stop be fooled by people who are going to tell you, say, government now spend 1.4 billion when the government has spent 76 billion. Stop be fooled by it. When the Prime Minister already, my PM, your PM, already gave commitment as to what said money will be used for. But people are going to tell you, say, even though the government has spent, even though the government has give you forget everything one time, and we for just give people money. As the Prime Minister said a couple of years ago, probably about 30 years ago, we had a government in Jamaica. We had a government in Jamaica that acted without thought, acted careless. And the result of it was an event worse than Melissa. We call it FINSAC. The result of a careless government, we call it FINSAC. I can attest that under this government, you will not have a repeat of that. You will not have a repeat of that incident. But under careless government, we have FINSAC and then 10 terrible years of mismanagement of a party that set out to only enrich itself and its senior members. Yes, let me add that. And our PMP, them enrich, you know. All right, thank you, Dinan. Is not the PMP them enriched, only the senior bigwig members of the PMP was enriched. The Goldens, the Buntins, the Pattisons, the Davis, the Lawrence, them name there. Karen Cross tell us long time that regular PMP supporter never benefit from it. That is why the leader at that time, now come and stand on the political platform and tell us the 90s during which we suffered FinSac. Mark Golding said it was the best time in the history of this country. Now, even if you are a PMP supporter listening to me today, and you are of age, and I should describe Jamaica to you in the 90s and P.J. Patterson, Michael Manley to P.J. Patterson. And I can tell you we had a country in terms of education, they inherited a program of compulsory education. They inherited a program of compulsory education that was crap. They inherited a murder rate of just about 430 persons per year. It's about 430. When they handed over back the reins of power, they went as high as 1,700. So they mash up the education system where them get, and they mash up the national security. And when we say mash up, people, listen to me now. It was the domino effect. Because most of the time when we talk about FinSac, we talk about a financial problem. But FinSac was way more than a financial problem. FinSac carry a larger burden than anything else. FinSac carry a larger burden. FinSac touch every aspect of our life. National security. Them couldn't spend no money on the police. They couldn't spend no money on the soldier. The JCF and the JDF were understaffed. They were under-supported, undermanned. And because of that, crime run out of hand. From 400 to 1,700. 1,000 upwards become the norm. 1,000 upwards become the norm. All these are credited under the very same FinSac because no money never there. They never had no money. Government money was being fueled into PMP supporters' pocket. The police force was controlled by Dans. Dan run the police force. Dan's getting police escort. Dan deciding which police get promoted. Dan's deciding which officer get promoted and which one didn't. If you don't think a joke, man, just do it up. These are things that me know, Dan's was in charge of that. So because of that, our murder rate skyrocketed. Our education system virtually crashed. We had an education minister named Maxine Henry Wilson that made a concerted effort to lock down technical and secondary school, turn them into high school. The gap between who could have make it and who couldn't was the secondary school and the technical school. Those were shuttered under that administration. It was as a result of FinSac. We may speak of it as a financial problem, but it had its roots, it had its tentacles into every aspect of governance. Because if the money never there, you can't invest in the school and you can't invest in national security. But there was money. But guess what? It was being fueled. They had a pipeline with them called the DB&G pipeline, where the money, the pipeline that was used to fuel out taxpayers' money to the tune of billions. Also, yes. It was a pipeline named DB&G that was used to fuel out the money. And don't worry, man, as I get more adept to using this app, I will be producing the program where plot out the information. But I can take you on a little journey. The little journey through FinSac. As me say, the first casualty at the PMP administration of 1989 was the compulsory education program. Me see last week, couple of weeks ago, they were celebrating the birthday of Miss Gilmore, who was the education minister that conceptualized the free education, the compulsory education. She conceptualized the compulsory education. It was her 100th birthday. A lady who, by the way, served both parties in the parliament. That was the first victim. Secondly, the few schools that were left, they removed civics. Civics was the program that teach people about government and governance. Most of when me learn about governance when me used to do civics. Most of when me learn was when me I do civics. Guys, if you're over TikTok and you're not following me on YouTube, please to come across YouTube and give me a follow. We're coming up to a good launch, but we are gonna have some giveaways over here. We are gonna have some souvenir Chuck Finley item giving away right over on YouTube. And if you are in Jamaica, you can win for yourself some card credit. Yes, that will be YouTube. That will be announced when it's time, but it's coming up. No, we are just practicing, Yes. But we move civics from school. That way no one could challenge the mismanagement because people never know better. People still don't know better. When you listen to some of the conversation them with the people them who have data upon their phone and can turn it on, them conversation don't make sense. Them can't teach anybody anything. So because most of them don't have the ability to teach you something, what them do? Them try to get you angry. Most of them, we just turn on platform and I go live, they don't have the ability to teach you anything. So them try to get you angry. Then them lack the ability to teach, so the next step is to get you angry. Because guess what? During the election, if I cannot convince you to vote for me, then I'm going to convince you to vote against the other guy, even when the other guy is doing good. Right? But my little responsibility as a Jamaican, somebody who love my country, somebody who know that the better party that has always proven to be the one that manage the affairs of this country better has always been the Jamaica Labour Party. Always. Check the different eras of who running when and see who. Always the Jamaica Labour Party. And challenge. So I am here and my job is to try my best to uplift, enlighten, and teach. Guide people to make. Remember, you have a whole heap of young people, who come of age sometime in the last 10 years. And it's time to go to the polls. And they're probably saying to themselves, boy, so we never saw a PMP government yet. And they're flirting with the idea, say, boy, if you give PMP a vote, because we never see them government yet. But I can tell you this. People flirted with the PMP government in 1989. They flirted with the PMP government in 1972. In 1972, from 1962 to 1972, Jamaica enjoyed the strongest and most prosperous economy, I dare to say, in the world, but for sure in the Caribbean. Best. Michael Manley campaign said better must come. Him win. And it took him 2 years to destroy the strong economy that he inherited. 2 years. By 1974, Michael Manley was in Washington with hat in hand begging money. Michael Manley hold the distinction of being the first Jamaican prime minister to spend IMF money. The first Jamaican prime minister to spend IMF money was Michael Manley. Took him 2 years. After 2 years, our economy moved from 18.5% to -5%. 2 years it take that to happen. If it never written down in a black and white, even though it's written in black and white, people still say a lie. 2 years. It took 2 years for the net international reserve to move from 146 million to -600 million. 2 years. Only 2 years. By 1976, the Manley government was so unpopular in Jamaica that he was heading towards certain political defeat at the polls. So he did what he does best. He declared a state of emergency in Jamaica, lock up the opposition, and call an election and win a second term. His management of the second term was not much better. None of them would vote for PMP. I am not sure I understand in this comment list. Let me see if you have something else up at top here. Nope. Lock up the opposition and go into an election. But 1970, it was much better. It was still a level of hardship never before seen on the Jamaican people. When the business community decided to complain, Michael Joshua Manley tell them, say, there is 5 flights a day to Miami. If you don't like what I do, leave. People pack up, lock down them business and run well left Jamaica. First brain drain with experience was then. Lock up them business. Run left them house. Run left them house. Most people just left it, they never lock it up, then just run. 1980, Michael was on the campaign trail again. Luckily for this time, the people chose wise and they chose Edward Philip George Seaga to lead this country. It take Edward 5 years to return growth to the country. 5 years to return growth. And he took office on the heels of Hurricane Allen. Yes, he took office on the heels of Hurricane Allen. 5 years and we returned to growth. The Jamaica Labour Party being the party of education. And unless you know the history, you will believe what other people tell you. The Jamaica Labour Party has always been the party of education. It started with Bustamante in 1944. It continued under Mr. Allen again. Where Mr. Allen name again? Somebody tell me. Longest serving education minister. Building out our infrastructure. And coming right up now. Edwin Allen. Thank you again. Mr. Edwin Allen. After returning growth, the government of Edward Seaga, under the guidance of Mavis Gilmore, implemented the compulsory education because there was a paper written by Bustamante, Buster, remember they used to cuss Buster and say Buster can't read? Without education. I need to find that article and read it for you guys. So we continued the drive and we implemented compulsory education. That means every child, every Jamaican must be going to school. We never did that ask, it was compulsory. Let me see if we can find a little bit more about the compulsory education. I want to find a little bit more about the compulsory education. Right? But it's something that would have served the Jamaican people well. Yes, something that would have served the Jamaican people very well. Well, I'm so I can get this up here so you guys can see it. Let me see if you can see. You can see. Now, it's something that served the Jamaican people, would have served the Jamaican people very well. But as with anything else, once something is good for the Jamaican people, the PNP will always be against it. So them discontinue it. They discontinue civics in school. And then they set out an 18 years of destruction. 18 years of destruction after that time. And now we're reaping the benefits of those where we have whole heap of dunce. Whole heap of dunce. And again, I say this all the while, I don't take no pleasure. I take no pleasure in describing my fellow Jamaicans as dunce. I don't take no pleasure in it. Right? But if you listen to the conversation, you will realize that there is no other option but to do that. But you have worry for them. Them turn on platform every day and they pretend them can't, them have not teach, them can't teach you the history, them can't teach about the present, and them can't make a plan for the future. So them set out to get you angry. So because of that, if you follow them, you believe that Jamaica is on fire. Yesterday, surprisingly, I should be able to find this one, a TVJ report that tells us that residents are returning to Jamaica in droves. People are coming back home. People are coming back home. People are telling people, hey, listen, they could have. Well, they weren't interested in teaching the people. It was about keeping the people them dumb. Voice of the Nation, see me here. VG, you know, so me always want to talk to you, you know. Especially when I say do you one video them. Voice of the Nation, what we have over TikTok here, is a student at those times. You know. Voice of the Nation was never taught civics in school. And you can tell that by the way he reasons his politics. Voice of the Nation don't understand. He's one of them where him can't teach about the past, because he know the political history. Him can't teach about the present, because he's not interested in learning it. And him can't help you plan for the future. So whenever I'm on live, him set to get people angry. Can't teach, so him try to rile up and get people angry. So as I say now, the first victim now, the civics in school, the compulsory education, and then set out an 18 years of destruction. FinSAC, a man-made disaster that struck Jamaica, that did the same amount of damage that Hurricane Melissa did. We cost us 40% of our GDP. in the 70s, between 72 and 80, that period cost us 20% of our GDP. Every single time the PMP is in power, Jamaica go backwards. Am I saying that the PMP as a party when in power has never done anything good? No. Good, the bad for the PMP, 90% of the time outweighs the good that them try to do. 90% of the time, that is the equation where them have to work with. The bad always outweigh the good. Right? So I could point to a few programs where we can say we credit them with implementing them. But a good friend of mine always point out that even programs that are conceptualized and implemented by the PMP under a JLP government, them serve the people of Jamaica better. The flagship program of the PMP government, every time they ask them about PMP, they tell you about NHT. And me tell them, say, any day them get me angry, me can take NHT from them because NHT was a replica of the Jamaica Mortgage Bank. The only difference with the Jamaica Mortgage Bank is that it never used to take money from you. The Jamaica Mortgage Bank was designed to do the very same thing that NHT do, but it never used to take money out of your salary whether you want to or not. Now, me a whole heap of young people are balling and say, why we have to pay NHT and we not plan to buy no house? Any day them get me angry, me take NHT from them because it was a copy of the Jamaica Mortgage Bank. But NHT is one of the programs. But NHT under Labour Party government serve the people of Jamaica 10 times as better. Today, despite you might hear people are telling about controversy about government that take money when it was the PMP that passed a law to start drawing down some money from the NHT. The NHT is sitting on over $300 billion in cash. NHT no short, NHT no broke, NHT can't broke. NHT can set out to build 100,000 houses at once. Them have the money. What them don't have, why them can't take on that project, is we don't have the capabilities in Jamaica. We don't have the contracting capabilities to take on a project like that. So we have to build 10,000 this or 10,000 this. That's how we have to take time and do it. So yes, they implement some good programs, but them work better because I've always said that PMP's problem was that lack of ideas. It was implementation of some ideas that them lack. That's why them always feel the implementation. They're not short ideas, they just feel to implement. And then sit down now and tell you, say, oh, everything where Andrew do whether they have in the pipeline. Well, if that is the case, well, the corruption goes without saying. If that is the case, we should still thank Andrew to take them out of the pipeline. We can't have the people them that led us down the path of destruction is stepping up now as the voice who have all the answers. The evidence don't support that. The evidence, history don't support that. That PMP is the voice of reason. No. History don't support that. History say the PMP is not to be trusted with the reins of this country. Now, am I here advocating for one party to run Jamaica? Hell no, I am not advocating for one party to run Jamaica. But what I want to know is to have an opposition that should we go to the poll and they are elected, we don't have to start fret about what go happen. Few nights ago, I was on a platform with somebody. 2 more terms, yes. I was on a platform with somebody and they were telling us that, them want continuity in the government. And I pointed out that one of the greatest travesty of political wastage in Jamaica was when Edward Seaga was building out downtown Kingston. Most young people never knew say tourists used to walk up and down downtown Kingston. Never knew say cruise ship used to dock and tourists walk up and down in a downtown Kingston. Was never know them thing there. When Edward Seaga was building out Coronation Market, get the materials and develop it, and it lasted in 1989. A PMP government allowed the materials that should have finished the market to rotten. Them never drive another nail down a Coronation Market. Them, the PMP, never drive another nail down a Coronation Market. The material sit down over Portmore and rotten down, rotten. They never give it to people to use. They never thief it like usual. They make it stay over there and rotten. These are the people coming. I remember the same PMP, they don't change, same PMP. The mindset is still the same. And them come now and tell us them have all the answers. We can do, we can do, we can do. But you still have some people flirting with the ideas. Oh, me want to see one PMP government. No, you don't. I saw a PMP government. I lived through one. And I am telling you, Jamaica cannot manage another round with the PMP. Not this PMP where exists today. Not the PMP of Mark Golding and Peter Bunting. Mark Golding and Peter Bunting are the persons responsible for the Finsack debacle. The chief beneficiaries. And they are so confident with it that Peter Bunting could stand on the debate stage and tell the people of Jamaica, oh, we made our money from Finsack, so what? They're so confident they are with it. When the contractor general fine and tell them, say, how much money them sink off, they was okay with it. They never have nothing to lose. We can't listen to these people. They are the architect of Jamaica's demise. Them are the architect. Them are the beneficiary of the suffering of people like Meshach Willis. Why Meshach must have for you, me call him name. Meshach Willis, a once thriving businessman in Jamaica, building a legacy for his family, building an inheritance for his kids. And people, this is why them hate Andrew too, Building an inheritance for his kids is now sitting on him backside in a half-rate sell sweetie. That is what the PMP government did to him. People like Lola Gray Baker, sitting down today wondering, how did they get like this? Let me see. Let me see if I can find. Let me try if I can find Miss Good Lady who me like listen to. Valerie Dixon. So I can find a little bit of Valerie Dixon played for people. Most people will never understand why I always play Valerie Dixon.
It's just part of the experience. And that was just part of what happened. To us, whose only crime was to create employment for Jamaica.
Let's go from the beginning.
Those who don't know know what we're talking about when we talk about FinSAC, because we have to make this connection back, because it's always about the FinSAC experience at the end of the day being situated.
Let me go from the beginning so we can understand. And now, I now play the all of Miss Baker. I just want to play part time.
In a historical context, the observer writes about it to this effect that the financial shock, which began in 1991 in Jamaica, ballooned unchecked over the next 5 years until it exploded with a catastrophic bang in 1996. The explosion left shrapnel scattered over the financial landscape, which still impacted on the economy so many years later. Sister Valerie Dixon is a survivor of that shock that the observer talk about, a survivor of the government's response to the financial crisis of the 1990s. And she's, as we have said, written her book, Too Black to Succeed, the FinSAC Experience, one of the 4 nines, lady president of the UNIA Kingston chapter, educator, author, entrepreneur, and grandmother. My sister Valerie Dixon, she...
So, what I want to bring out this morning is that a lot of people do not understand where this thing came from. And I want to just read a little from an appendix that was written in the Observer some time ago. It says, when Omar Davis, then PNP finance minister in the 1990s, began the process of dismantling the Central National Bank, it was done immediately after the Don Crawford-run entity had bought a significant sum of US dollars at a few dollars more than the price that the official exchange rate indicated. The bank did nothing which other banks were not doing in a time when an inept PNP government was struggling with managing a market economy which it knew little or nothing about. What the sale of those dollars did was reveal that the very same finance ministry was covertly, that means underground, dispatching agents with huge sacks of cash in the trunks of their cars to buy US dollars at prices above.
Now, let me break this up for a while. And some of you may have heard of an incident what they call the US dollar scandal of 1993, I think it was. People were pulling up cars in the parking garage at the Bank of Jamaica and filling up the trunk of those cars with cash, taxpayers' money, and go down at the north coast, them go park and buy US dollar from the tourists. Filling up taxpayers' money in a car back and go buy US dollar. Eventually, somebody organized a robbery. And Jamaica lose probably about $3 million themselves, little less than $3 million. Back in 1992, 93, $3 million, whole heap of money. But so careless was the government being run at the time that $3 million taxpayers' money was in our car back. Nobody no sign no documents fee, nobody no nothing fee, it's just in our car back. These are the people where we must never turn over this country to again. Mark Golding and Peter Bunting in particular. Cannot turn over this country to them again. Andrew Holness, well, that it started with Bruce Golding. Bruce Golding and the Jamaica Labour Party has been working too hard since 2007 to get it back, to put it to where it is today. Where we are today, we are not perfect. We have brought stability. We have brought murders to a 34-year low. We have brought back peace to the Jamaican people. Most Jamaican people now can sit down and relax. Yes, we still have problems out there. But majority and the country is now enjoying a little peace and relaxation. And we must never turn it back over to these people that were the architect of our demise. all right, loser. Right? We must never turn it over to people who were the architects of our demise. Right? Now, I have to say, I'm going to say goodbye to YouTube people, and I'm going to continue over TikTok. So, YouTube people, much respect. As me say, YouTube, we just come, we're going to launch, but we're not ready yet, so we're going to warm up. So, thanks to who come support me over YouTube, and everybody on TikTok. If you're not following YouTube, please to come and join over YouTube. The name is the same, Chuck Finley 34 on YouTube. You can't miss it. You're going to see the Chuck Stop logo. Come over YouTube and give you a follow, give you a subscribe. YouTube community, big up yourself.